Alright, what's up? Ata here, and welcome back to a new episode of You Pick, I Play for Black Ops 2. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with my channel, unfamiliar with this series, this is the series in which I use a class setup that was recommended to me by one of you. And if you want me to use your class setup in the next episodes, simply leave it in the comments and then I will use the class with the most thumbs up in the next episode. That's all there is to it. Definitely leave a suggestion in the comments. Make sure you thumb up the ones you would like me to use. And apart from that, let's take a look at today's class setup. Okay, so this class was given to me by Crushed Tacos. Now, he didn't give me a primary. Instead, he gave me the ballistic knife as my secondary weapon. Then next up for my wildcards, perk 2 and danger close. Then for perk 1, lightweight. After that, fast hands and scavenger. For perk 3, extreme conditioning. Then 2 combat axes, and to wrap it all up, he gave me a flashbang. And I was allowed to choose my own score streak, so I went for the UAV, the hunter killer, and then the care package. That's my way of basically cheating the system. But I'll explain that in a little bit. Now, a little heads up, I did record a live gameplay. The reason for that being is because running around with this setup was a little bit frustrating. So I thought that I would just stop recording my vocals and my face cam just so that I could focus a little bit more. And I ended up getting a pretty decent gameplay. So that's what we're going to take a look at in a second. With that said, thank you for the continued support, and let's take a look at the gameplay that I recorded. Okay, here we go. As you can see, this is of course a match on drone. Now, a little heads up, the reason I decided not to record my vocals and the reason I decided not to record my webcam whilst I was playing is very simple. I ran around with this setup for, I want to say, like 4 hours about 2 days or so ago, and then I tried to use it again yesterday. And it just wasn't working out very well whatsoever. I mean, knifing in this game, it's just about as broken as it possibly can be. Plus, I also figured out that running around with the ballistic knife is not really something you want to do. Knifing people with that thing is even tougher than knifing people with the combat knife. So, within this gameplay, you'll see that I get most of my kills using the combat knife. That's just what you want to do if you want to run around with a setup like this, because otherwise you're simply gonna die over and over and over and over again, and it's gonna be really frustrating. Like, I thought it was really frustrating trying to get a decent gameplay using this class setup, but I just kept on going. At one point, I thought that I would use the FAL class setup that had about 12 thumbs up, but this class had about 70 thumbs up. So at the end of the day, I thought to myself, you know what? Might as well just stick with it because a lot of people want me to use this setup, so I will show them that I can also get a decent gameplay with a setup that is kind of useless. I mean, I don't want to say that this class setup is entirely pointless, but it is practically useless, alright? It's really that simple. So I had to think of a way to basically outsmart the ones who dropped the thumbs up on this class setup. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, most of you voted for this one just because you wanted to see me struggle. And well, you're lucky, I struggled. I definitely struggled. But what I needed to change was, I needed to change my score streaks. When I first started using this class setup, I ran around the UAV, the hunter killer, and the counter UAV. And then I was pretty much just hoping to get the counter UAV and the UAV at once, so that I could basically just continue to stack score streaks up in such a fashion. But that just wasn't working out whatsoever. The UAV and the counter UAV weren't helping me out too much. Yes, they were getting me a couple of assists here and there, but for the most part, they weren't really leading to another set of streaks. So I had to change that, and I went for the care package. Why? Because that way I could pretty much cheat the system. Because if I can get a score streak out of it, I will use that thing. It's really that simple. Now, the first time around, I believe I got a Dragonfire. Only got 2 kills using that score streak, because, well, the Dragonfire is of course very weak. You can very easily take it out. But then the second time around, I got a Death Machine, and I did get a few kills with it. I'm not too sure how many, but I definitely got a few. I want to say like 4 or 5, something like that. And then eventually, whilst running around with the Death Machine, I actually ended up getting knifed. I know, karma's a bitch, or at least that's what I was thinking at that time. But I still ended up getting 26 kills. If I'm not mistaken, I died twice, so I think it's pretty good. Now, what I basically tried to do was, I basically tried to use the radar to my advantage. I always do that. For those of you that watch my videos on the regular, you will know that I usually tend to look at the radar, I want to say like 50% of the time. I can walk around the map just by looking at the radar. I know when to jump, I know when to turn around the corner, everything like that. So that's what I basically did throughout as well. And if you want to get kills using the combat knife, you basically have to make sure you get a UAV. You will need that one. If you want to deal well with a knife, make sure you use the UAV. You're probably not going to get a VSAT, or at least I'm pretty sure that I would have never gotten the VSAT. Actually, over these past few days, or past few weeks I should say, I've been uploading quite a few Swarm gameplays, right? And I've also been running around with my own knife setup, trying to get a live Swarm using the combat knife. And my days, that is frustrating. That is really frustrating. I'm not too sure if I'll ever be able to do that. Earlier today, I recorded a Remington Swarm. Yesterday, I uploaded KSG Swarm. And at the moment, I'm trying to get a Swarm using the combat knife and also the S12. The S12 is also terrible. Like with that gun, you have to get up close and personal, right? But there's no in between. If you're at mid-range, those 10 pellets will not be enough to kill a person. And when you're using a combat knife, you have to play it even safer. And in some situations, my opponents were just terrible. I'll admit that much. In a lot of situations, I should have died and I didn't. But I will just take it as it is. I did half decent. And I don't plan on ever doing this again, by the way. Just pointing that out there as well. But what I did was, and I'm finally getting to the point, I usually tend to ramble on about things that don't really matter all that much. But I was using the radar, right? And as soon as I saw that someone was walking towards me, I would just go prone and wait for him. That's really the only thing you can do in those situations. Considering you're using a combat knife, you just have to wait for him. Like camping, although I wasn't like sitting in a corner the entire time or anything like that. But if I knew that there was an opponent coming, I would just go prone, wait around the corner, and just pop out whenever I saw him. And hopefully, he wouldn't kill me before I was able to kill him. That's all I did for the most part, especially at the start of the attack quite a lot. Now, at the end of all of these episodes, I usually always change the class setup to my liking. Today's no different. Already recorded that. This is the only thing that I still have to do, pretty much. But I knew exactly what I wanted to change about it. I wanted to get rid of the Flashbang. The Flashbang is not something you want to use. The concussion is much more useful, especially since you have to walk up to them in order to kill him. Unless you, of course, use the ballistic knife or the combat axe. But if you flash them, they can still run around. They can still run away. You don't want that, so definitely go for the concussion. But for those of you that are interested in using this setup or are interested in giving this setup a go, definitely let me know on Twitter or Facebook how well you did. Maybe take a picture or something using your phone, or if you have a capture card, take a screenshot. Because, like I said, I was really struggling trying to get a gameplay using this setup. I normally never run around with a knife. So there's that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that someone like Only Use Me Blades would have no trouble whatsoever getting something good using this class setup. But for me, it was definitely something different. Anyway, that's about it for the gameplay. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And as always, if you enjoyed it, definitely show support. If not, that's fine. And let's take another look at the class setup. Okay, now what would I change about this setup? That's the question, right? Now, honestly, I'm first going to change extreme conditioning for dexterity. I mean, we have to get up close and personal, right? So it's really annoying not being able to mantle and climb over obstacles at a proper pace. Next up, in terms of the two combat axes, I think I'm going to keep those. You know what? I'm going to get rid of one. And then I'm also going to swap the flashbang for the concussion. Just because, well, the flashbang is kind of useless, I think so anyway. I mean, it's good that you can blind someone. But in reality, like I said before, you have to get up close and personal. So a stun grenade is going to be much more beneficial, to say the least. And then what else? We could also get rid of the ballistic knife. Seems a bit pointless, but we could do that. Let's actually get rid of fast hands. I know it's kind of useful, but I know something that's a little bit more useful, and that would be the perk ghost. I think so anyway. Now keep in mind, I don't run around with a knife setup very often. So there's that. So we've got ghost, and we've got one more point to spend. That is a bit of a bummer. What should we do? Oh, you know what? We could also do this. Perk 3 degrees, and then extreme conditioning. This could work. I might as well give this a go. I might as well use this in one of my live episodes. I'll give it a go. Anyway, with that said, if you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more, a like rating would be much appreciated. If not, that's cool. As always, if you want to, you can follow me on Twitter at BO2. Link in the description. I usually try to reply to as many tweets as I can. And apart from that, once again, if you want me to use your class setup in future episodes, simply leave it in the comments, and then I'll use the class with the most thumbs up. in the next episode. And apart from that, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.